Hi there. We're at yet another Lehigh Valley Elite meeting, and Lehigh Valley Elite has dedicated the third Monday of every month to social media presentations. Today, we are fortunate to have David Gritz of Gen Wine Consultant to give us a great presentation on how to become a power user on LinkedIn. And without any further ado, here's David.
Thanks, Valerie. I appreciate the opportunity to present in front of everyone today. So to get started, I would like to ask everyone a couple questions to get a better understanding of where you stand in the LinkedIn continuum. And for those in the audience, kind of think about this as questions that you should ask yourself. So Michael had asked earlier how many of you guys are on LinkedIn, and that's great that a good proportion of you guys are on LinkedIn. But the more important thing is not just to get on LinkedIn, but to use LinkedIn to benefit your business. So how many of you, just by raise of hands, have gotten a new customer or prospect from LinkedIn? Wow, that's excellent. So that's about half of the room. How many of you guys have used LinkedIn to meet someone that you wouldn't otherwise be able to meet because if you called their company, you wouldn't get through? All right, that's excellent. So we have a pretty advanced crowd here. And then how many of you guys are 500 plus on LinkedIn? That is, you have over 500 connections. Great. All right, so I'm going to go a little more advanced than some of the slides are basic. We'll cover those pretty quickly, and then we can go into some of the more advanced topics during the presentation. So the key objectives of today's presentation is threefold. I'm going to walk you through the basics. For those of you that are more advanced, just kind of bear with it and go through it, but I'll go through them pretty quickly. Then we're going to hit up how to become a power user. What is the 3 elements that you need to do to become a power user? And then we're going to walk through a couple sample case studies. So 3 people I know, how they used LinkedIn to advance their business and get more business. And then the key takeaways is you should understand the power of LinkedIn and to inspire you to become a power user. So the first thing is, why use LinkedIn? There's 3 primary reasons to use LinkedIn. The first is LinkedIn is your professional image. Just like Michael uses Google Plus and Facebook and a lot of the other tools for you to be able to find him and find out about his networking events, LinkedIn is your professional image. So when you go online, most of the time people are going to search for you if they want to buy from you as a person or as a business. And ultimately what's going to happen is your LinkedIn is going to be one of the top search results. And your LinkedIn is a great way for 3 things to happen. The first is for someone to learn that you're credible in your industry, whether you have a certain amount of time of experience, you have specific accomplishments, or you're a member of an association in your industry that has a certification or represents you as a professional because you might be licensed or in some way stand out above the crowd. So you can use your LinkedIn to portray your digital image beyond just an individual in a field, but as a leader in that field. The second thing is you can use it for lead generation. So it shouldn't just be to get a customer once, but it should be as a system to generate consistent customers for your business. And we'll talk about some of the techniques that you can use for that. And the last is that once you have existing customers for your business, you might have 100 customers. LinkedIn is a great way to keep in touch with people on a regular basis. So whether you want to use it as your database, if you don't want to pay for a more expensive database like Salesforce or Zoho, you might be able to just use your LinkedIn. LinkedIn stores all of your contacts. It allows you to export your contacts if you want to reach out to them in email. And there's also some techniques which are more advanced that I'll talk about that LinkedIn allows you to message more than one person at once. So if you have an event, a promotion for your business, or just something that you want to let a number of people know about, like you came out with a new book or new education program, you can release that on LinkedIn, and that acts as your customer relationship system. So it's a very effective way to reach a large amount of people. So we're going to go right into it, and I'm going to start by going over the basics of what is LinkedIn and what are the core elements of it. So there's 4 core elements of LinkedIn. The first is your profile. Your profile describes who you are to the broader world. So the things that go into your profile is your headline. So when someone searches for you, it will say, that you are that specific role. A lot of people put their title, other people put something they're looking for. So if you're looking to hire someone in your business, you might put that right up in your headline. Another element of your profile is essentially the experience and credibility. I'll be showing you a little bit of a breakdown of this. The other elements that are important in LinkedIn is your connections. So we talked about the LinkedIn capability of a customer relationship profile or a customer relationship management. It doesn't matter if you're using it for customer relationship management for new customers or for existing customers, but what matters is that you're connected with the people on LinkedIn. So if your customers are on LinkedIn, then it doesn't make sense to use it. But if your customers are on LinkedIn, then you can connect with them and it makes sense. So you got to make sure that with your business that you're able to find your customers on LinkedIn and you connect with them. Then groups is a more advanced function. So I'm going to, when we get to that, leave you a little more details on that. And the last is interactions, which is how people find about you on LinkedIn. So I'm going to dive into each one of those. First is your profile. So you can see a few elements of your profile on the screen. The first at the top, the guy that I have pointed out is Jeff Young. He is a LinkedIn guru in Ohio. He goes around and actually speaks at conferences all over Cincinnati area. So the reason why I picked him out is because he really knows what he's doing on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for like the ideal profile, just look up Jeff Young in Ohio, and you can see a lot of stuff. Like he uses a lot of the top capabilities. Like if you see under there, there's some posts. So he goes ahead and he posts about certain things related to his business. So he'll post about some LinkedIn tips. He'll post about the best practices that you can do. He'll post about common myths and misunderstandings. Under that, you'll see that it says summary. The summary section is your opportunity to speak to people that find you. So if they go onto your profile, the first thing they're going to see under your heading and your picture is your summary. So within your summary, it's usually about one paragraph. And most people, with their summary, they just talk about what they do in their business. And that's great. But if you have a specific objective and you want to get the most out of LinkedIn, you should put a call to action right in your summary. So if you're a realtor like Mark and you know that you're looking for someone that has a nest egg that wants to invest in and get more than 3%, you can say right up in your profile, hey, reach out to me by phone or email if you want to have a better use of your money than just have it sit in the stock market that's not going to be doing too well or in bonds that aren't going to be making a lot of money. So that call to action is very powerful, and it allows you to have a direct contact or touch to the people that are within your profile or that see your profile. Additionally, you have to think about, like, your profile has lots of different components, but you got to think about it as a whole. Like, how does it increase the credibility of you as a person? So, for example, for me, as a consultant, it's important that people understand that I understand millennials very well. So I will talk about things related to millennials on that profile and give examples of things that I've done in the marketing space. So just think about your business, and when you think about someone buys from you, what do they want to think about or hear about that you've done, and add that to your profile. There's lots of different elements from education to certifications that you can use, but it's not necessarily what you put on, it's about the results of what you put on. So now you have a good understanding of your profile. The important thing is connections. Your profile doesn't matter if you're not connected to anyone. So in terms of connections, the connections component, and I'll be going into some more details when we go over the power user function on how to connect to a lot of people, but this is basically what comes up. When you click, you get to see your connections, and you can filter and sort through. One of the techniques that Jeff Young recommends, which is kind of like an advanced technique, is that you can put tags on everyone that you're connected with, and this is very effective because LinkedIn only allows you to connect with 50 people at a time to send a message. They limit that so people don't spam like 500 people with the same message. So it's kind of LinkedIn's control, but what you can do is you can tag people. So one of the things that he does is he goes through all of his connections, and then he tags the last name of everyone by the letter that their last name starts with. So if their last name starts with a G or an A, then they will have a tag related to G or A. So if they want to send out a mass message, he'll just click A, and then it'll show up maybe 40 or 50 people with the last name of A. You can check the button to group those people together, because you can group people that are tagged together. And since there's 26 letters, you'll probably have less than 50 people in each category. And then it gives you a quick way to send messages to all the people that you're connected with. So that's a little pro tip. Next thing is your groups. So groups can become a very powerful tool on LinkedIn because it allows you to go beyond the people that you're directly connected to. So groups, you have to think about it on LinkedIn, is like the networking groups, like what we're at here, the Lehigh Valley Elites, the BNIs, the LaTips of the internet. So there's a lot of different purposes of groups. The most common types of groups are typically alumni groups, because there's lots of associations, and a lot of times like the alumni directors are just like, well, let's create a LinkedIn group. So just think about all the organizations that you're a part of, and most likely they have some type of meeting group or alumni group. Start by joining those, because you already have existing camaraderie with those people. So that's going to give you a connection to them and an easy way to reach out. One thing that's awesome about groups, that's a pro tip, is when you're in a group, you can select the people that are in the group by just going up to the top right-hand corner. So you can't see it in this screenshot, but basically when you're in a group, it looks just like your feed. Like there's a series of content that goes down the side, and then in the top right-hand corner, it says like the number of people in the group, and it says members. If you click on that in the group, you can see everyone in the group. So this is great. Like, for example, if you were looking for someone that is a hospital, like I know Lori does a lot with hospitals for landscape design, and you wanted to look and find someone that's in charge of maintenance at hospitals, there might be a group for maintenance professionals, and then you can go in that group, and then you can just search hospitals, and then you'll be able to find all the people that are in hospitals in maintenance within a group. And then if you're in the same group as them, you can reach out to them directly without having to be connected with them. So one key important tip. So I don't know how many of you guys are professional users or just basic. So how many of you pay for the professional version of LinkedIn? None of you. Okay. So LinkedIn has upgrades to it where you can pay for the professional edition. And essentially what the professional edition allows you to do, there's a number of things. Like it allows you to find people, it allows you to recruit people for jobs. But the most important thing it allows you to do is it allows you to message people that are not direct connections. So LinkedIn has 3 types of connections. It has first connections, which are people that you're connected to directly, like you clicked connect and then they accepted. Second connections, those are people that you're not directly connected with. So in other words, you might be connected with me and I might be connected with someone else, and they're directly connected with me, but they're a second connection to you. And then there's third connections, which are once removed from that. So in other words, there might be someone connected to me, you're connected to me, and then that person is connected to the person that I'm connected to. So think of it like kind of like a third cousin. And they're not that fun to hang out with, but they're there, so you can really take advantage of them. And then there's also people that are not connected to you at all. There's some more advanced techniques in the course that I do about how to work with them, but we're not going to cover that because that would be like a 30-minute discussion in and of itself. But it's important that you understand those 3 levels of connections, and that groups allows you to get and connect with people that are not within that key circle of your first and second or even third connection. So it can be very powerful to find people in terms of searching for the people you want to meet or sell to, and also to interact with them. So the last part is interactions. So how do you get people to come to you? How do you, as Michael, get people to find out about your programs and events and then eventually come to your events? So obviously, the best way is to have as many connections as possible. But once you have connections, you want to show up in front of them. So just like when you're on Facebook, you might have friends or family that post pictures, and you see those pictures on your feed, and then you're like, oh, great, I want to check out those pictures and see what the last Cancun trip looked like, and the one that you didn't get a chance to go on. So essentially, LinkedIn is the same kind of thing except in a business setting. So when people go to conferences, when people write articles, and when people have certain types of things that they do in business, they can go and write about those. So essentially, there's 3 types of interactions with LinkedIn that allow you to show up on all of your connections' feed or their homepage. The 3 things are, first, you can like. So just like Facebook, you can find other content that people have posted. You can click the little thumbs up button, and it allows you to like it. So people will see that you are interested in it. And this is a basic level. Like, it doesn't really do that much for you, but it just allows you to show up on a few more people's feeds. So just think of it as like your online billboard. If you're doing like a few likes once a week, 5 or 10 people might be seeing you once a week. It's not going to do a lot, but it's going to get you out there. Once you master the likes, the next thing you can do is comment. So if you find something in a group, if you find something that someone posts on your feed and it's interesting to you, like let's just say someone posts an article on the new policies in China that they recently put a lot of money in the market, and you're really interested in emerging markets, and you're really concerned about like the Chinese stock market is going to be even worse. What you could do is like post a comment and say, wow, that's great that Chinese are allowing their pension funds to invest. Like, hopefully that's going to protect emerging markets from being damaged more. And then other people that are interested in that might see your comment, and they're going to see, wow, this person really knows their stuff. And if you're a financial planner like Amber, and the people that are seeing your feed see that you really know your stuff about emerging markets, and they have some money that they want to invest, like maybe they're going to look to you as an expert and want to talk to you more because they see that you're kind of sharing what you know, you're being part of the conversation. Then from there, once you learn how to become part of a conversation, then you can master the conversation. There's 2 ways that you can control and master the conversation. The first way is you can share. And this is easy. You can share something as simple as another article that you find. So let's just say, to the example that Michael had when he played the video about the Rodale Institute, let's just say that you're really interested in organic farming, and you found an article that was great that says like the deadly dozen, the 12 worst vegetables with pesticide and the ones that you should buy organic. So if you're really interested in organic, or you have people that you know that you're connected to are interested in organic, you might want to share that article because now they know that these are the 12 vegetables that they should make sure they buy the organic vegetables instead of buying the regular vegetables. So by having that, it really gives you an opportunity to drive the conversation. And as soon as you share something, you have the ability to get comments and likes on what you share. So it can go out to not just the people that you know, but the people that like you. In other words, so if they have connections, it will go out to them. People that comment on what you have, that goes out to them. So if I was Michael in the situation where his computer wasn't working, I might go on LinkedIn and I might post something, whether it's an article or just my own post, that says like Windows 10 is very difficult to use if you're upgrading from an old computer, right? So anyone that's going through that might comment and like it and say, yeah, I agree, or this is very difficult. And then the people from Microsoft might be watching that because they actually have like very advanced third-party tools that big companies use that monitor social media, so they can see that and see, wow, someone's posting about Windows 10, and then that might attract someone to improve the software or to reach out to you directly. So that's a good way to drive the conversation. And then if you want to get a mass following, what you can do is post, which is where you write an article. LinkedIn has its own blogging component called LinkedIn Pulse. And anyone can get the app of the LinkedIn Pulse, and it has different categories from the economy to leadership to different industries like technology. And within those, they share, LinkedIn promotes for you articles that you post on certain subjects. So I wrote an article while I was doing a podcast for consultants about why podcasting is important. And what was crazy is within a few days, I had 100 people that I didn't even know that read the article and commented on it and liked it. So it allowed me to be known as someone who knows something about podcasting. So posting is great because it goes beyond just people that you know or people that comment and like. you to people that LinkedIn believes are interested in a certain topic and post on it. So interacting on LinkedIn can seem like in the beginning it's just time consuming, it's just a waste of time. But if you're going to be wasting your time on Facebook anyways, you might as well do it on LinkedIn, where the people that you know will find out about you and it might promote your business. So just something to think about. Now for the rest of this, we're going to go into the power user section. So I've given you some advanced tips because I know we have a little bit of advanced audience in the basics, but I want to go over 3 ways that you can go from just a LinkedIn amateur to a LinkedIn power user and really use it as a way to grow your business. So those 3 ways are to maximize your profile. So we'll talk about how you can maximize your profile. To develop your network. So how do you grow your network and get more people seeing what you're doing? And how do you interact with others? So we talked a little bit about that, but I'm going to go into the pro tips in this section. So first, how do you maximize your profile? So within your profile, there's 3 key elements. The first element is your photo and headline. So one thing that bugs me more than anything is people that think they're so amazing that they don't need a picture. That basically everyone recognizes your name and you're that much of a celebrity. And that's basically what you're telling the world when you decide that I don't want to upload a picture. People are either going to think that you're so creepy that you don't want to upload a picture, or they're going to think that you're so arrogant that people should just know your name. So I highly recommend you get a professional picture taken of you, or you have someone like Frank have a nice video from a previous event. You just take a snapshot and upload it. So it's pretty easy, and it makes a big difference because the people that don't have pictures, I pretty much don't usually connect with them unless they are that person like CEO of a bank or something like that. But in general, it's important that you have a photo, and it's important that you have a headline that explains who you are or what you do. There's a lot of different theories on the headline. So just to be specific, the headline is the part where it says like real estate investor right under my name. So they give you about a little less than 200 characters. So think of it like a Twitter post to describe who you are, what you do. So this is something you can change all the time. Like it doesn't have to stay the same, but you just want it to capture who you are to an outside person. So if someone was to search for you, they can quickly identify, yes or no, I want to learn more about this person, because your picture and your profile are like the main things that show up in the search. So those have to match with what you're trying to do. And the 2 approaches to doing that is either to say who you are, like what you do specifically, so I'm a real estate investor, or to say a specific thing that you're trying to accomplish. So for example, I could put in my profile, if it was really important to me, I'm looking for a developer to help for a business plan competition that I'm running. So I might say that I'm the organizer of a business plan competition looking for a developer. So anytime someone finds me, they know what I'm looking for. And I've seen some very interesting ones where people that are looking to raise money for their business, they might put it right up in their headline, as clear as day, what they're trying to accomplish on LinkedIn. So you don't have to be as aggressive as that, but just make sure it's clear what you do. Once you get that figured out, then the summary and call to action is important. So within the summary, describe more in detail what you do, why it matters to someone, and what they can do to connect with you if you have a call to action. You might not have a call to action, just use that to build credibility for yourself. And then we talked about this already, but in general, it's most important to think about how to make yourself credible. So whether you're talking about your experience, you're talking about things that you volunteer and do in the community, or you're talking about certain accomplishments that you have, there's no right or wrong answer. It's always on a case-by-case individual basis. So now that you have a profile, you want to build up those connections. So then you have people that know you, and you have a way to get to your audience. There's 3 ways to get to your audience. The biggest way is the way in the middle, which is uploading a lot of contacts. So I know most of you have email addresses where your email provider stores all of the people that you've emailed. And even if you don't think they do, they do. So anyone who has a Gmail has ever sent an email out, all those emails are stored by Google because they like to store all your information. So you can actually take advantage of that, and you just upload your Gmail address or your AOL address, and LinkedIn will pull all those emails, and then it will request them. But you gotta be careful with that because LinkedIn's kind of abusive. So even if you don't give them permission, they're pretty much gonna request everyone you're connected with. So be ready for that. Thanks. Yeah, that's really good advice. And for those of you that didn't hear, Liz had accidentally connected her email, and LinkedIn sent out to 2,000 of her connections to request to connect with her, even people that she didn't want to connect with. So LinkedIn actually got in a lawsuit for doing that and lost. So they do it less than they used to, but they still do it. That's just what a lot of these social media companies like to do. They like to steal your information. So just be cognizant of it. And the thing that I can just recommend is just be ready for what's going to happen because you're not going to completely control it. But you don't have to use this technique. You can use other techniques. This is just one to quickly get a lot of people connected. The two other techniques, one is people you may know. So LinkedIn has an algorithm based off of the people that you're connected to and your searches, and if you add your email to it. So they have an idea of people that you might already be connected to. So for example, if someone that has 20 overlapping connections with you is not connected with you, LinkedIn might recommend them as people you may know, because highly likely that if you have an overlapping circle of 20 people, you probably already know each other. So you can just go through that maybe once a week or once a month and just plus people. And one pro tip on this is actually a pet peeve of Jeff Young, our Ohio LinkedIn guru. So when you're in the people you may know section, when you press the plus button, it sends a generic message that just says, I'd like to connect with you. And oftentimes when people receive those messages and they don't remember where they met you, they might not accept you just because they don't remember where they met you, but they still might want to connect with you. So be careful that when you send that out, that the person that's receiving it most likely will remember you. If not, the better way to do it is when you find the people you may know, click on their profile. So then you go into their profile. Once you're in their profile, what you can do is click connect. When you click connect from that menu, it asks you how do you know them. So you select how you know them, whether they were a friend or what business you were connected with them on. And then you can write a little message. So then they'll see a message that says, hey, we met at the last Lehigh Valley Elite meeting, and I just wanted to connect with you on LinkedIn. So then when that person receives the connection request, then they know the context of where they met you. And this is extremely important because a lot of times you might find people you may know that you met 2 years ago, and they don't remember where they met you, but you just happen to remember them. So it's great if you can give them that little refresher. And the one thing to watch out for is if you connect to too many people that don't know you and they press that I don't know you, you can actually get flagged by LinkedIn and go into LinkedIn jail where they actually prevent you from connecting to more people. So just be careful that you connect to people that recognize you, or even if they don't, that you write a message of why that they should connect with you. LinkedIn generally says as a rule that you should only connect with people you know. I'm not advocating for or against that rule, but what I'm saying is if you're connecting with people that you legitimately never met and just want to connect to because it seems interesting, at least leave them context and explain why you're connecting with them. So the last way to connect with people is a derivative of what I said, which is essentially you can search for people by name on LinkedIn, go to their profile, and then just click connect. So if you know someone, of course, all you have to do is search for their name and find them. Sometimes you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that have the same name. So what you can do is if you can't find them right away, there's a lot of filtering options on the left-hand side of the search. So easiest filter is just filter by geography. And then there's definitely going to be less than probably 100 people in that geography with the same name. So definitely a great way, but it's not going to be the fastest to go one individual person at a time. So it will take some time for those of you that are not at 500 plus to build up to that. And you don't actually have to get to 500 plus. It doesn't matter. The more important thing is that you're connecting with the people that are going to advance and grow your business. So the last element is how to interact. So we covered the basics on likes, comments, shares, and posts. There's a couple advanced tips that I want to tell you about that. First is a powerful way to interact in terms of likes, comments, and shares is not to just do it on your feed, because that's easy, but to find groups that your customers are in, join those groups, and like, comment, and share on people that you want to connect with. So, for example, for the business plan competition I'm working on, if I wanted to find people to enter into the competition, I might go into a group for startups, and then I might like, comment, and share on people that are commenting or talking about another business plan competition. So then they see that I'm someone that knows about business plan competitions. And then I might post into the group and says, hey, by the way, for those of you looking for another business plan competition, here's one that I'm running, and it would be great for you guys to learn more about it or check it out. So that way you're targeting people that are in a very specific area. The other thing is, when you post, a lot of times posting could be very frustrating because when you start, you're not going to get a lot of traction. So one thing you can do, and a lot of the people I know that post often on LinkedIn, is you don't just post once, but you want to try and make it a regular habit. So maybe every Thursday, you're going to have Special Tips Thursday, where you're going to have special tips related to your business. And you're going to post those special tips on LinkedIn. So people can be accustomed to every Thursday, they know to look for your post. And then every time you post, you have an increasing chance that LinkedIn is going to promote your post. So you just hopefully can hit the lottery that LinkedIn is going to promote it for you. But as you kind of build up a little bit of a following, people are more likely to read what you do. And then the last part, which we didn't spend a lot of time on in the kind of call out area, is once you click on someone that has shared something, like you click on Brian, you can send them a direct message. So if you're connected with them as a first connection, you can send them a message. It works just like an email. So what's really great is a lot of people don't get a lot of messages in their LinkedIn, unless you're Michael. So essentially, when they get a message from you in their LinkedIn, you might be the only person that sent them a message that day or that week. So it's not like their inbox that's completely full. It's a lot less volume, so you're more likely to catch someone's attention because they don't have a lot of volume of messages in their LinkedIn. The other thing is, if you're not a first connection with them, LinkedIn has an upgrade called InMail, which you can buy individually or you can buy through an upgrade to a premium account. So if they're not a first connection, you can send them a message through InMail. It won't say, like right here it says send a message. It will say send an InMail if they're a second, third, or not connected. And the InMail will charge you money. Basically, I think the premium account gives you anywhere between 5 and 15 messages a month that they add up, kind of like the AT&T rollover minutes. So over time, you can get them to add up, but they cap it at a certain point, so just make sure you use them if you're going to upgrade. And it can get expensive. I think it's between $1 and $5 for each message that you send. Yeah, so there's a few things in terms of that, in terms of advanced tips. So the first thing is that make your messages count. So you might want to test the messages that you're sending to your email list before you send it on LinkedIn, so you can make sure that there's a high conversion rate. Because if you're going to be spending anywhere from $1 to $5 a message, you want to make sure that there's a very high likelihood that that converts. So that's one technique that you can use. Another thing is LinkedIn recently changed their policies. They used to be like, if someone, you pretty much get charged every time, but sometimes LinkedIn gives you leeway. So if the person responds and engages, it's less expensive for you, and it doesn't always use up all your LinkedIn mail. The other thing is, like I said, groups can be very powerful. So if you join a group and then you message someone in that group, it doesn't use up your InMail because the group has a slightly different messaging component than InMail, because it's already saying you're in the group, which is almost akin to a first connection. So those are some tips. but it can get very complicated in calculating the ROI of messages and really trying to optimize that. So if you have questions for that in advance, like just talk to me at the end and I can kind of give you some more pro tips, but I don't want to spend too much time on that because I want to really get into a couple of our examples. So the last component I want to go through is the examples section. So essentially, I'm going to talk about 3 results of people that I know, what they got out of it, and what you can learn from it. So the first person is David Fields. David Fields is a friend of mine up in Connecticut, and what he does is he helps consultants to sell bigger deals. So if you're a consultant and you sell an average deal of, let's say, $15,000 to $20,000, he'll teach you how to sell a $75,000 deal, and that's his expertise. And what David Fields realized is that most of his customers were only people that took a lot of his time. Like he would take an engagement and train them, and it's great, but he wanted to be able to help more people because most people can't afford him. He's extremely expensive. So he decided that he was going to create a course, and he created a course called Client Acquisition Formula. And what it was is all the things that he taught to his clients of how to get new clients and how to sell bigger deals, except it was online education. So essentially he could sell it for less money so more people could get access to it, but he wouldn't have to be as directly involved, so it's kind of more like a product. So what he did is he actually got part of a group, which is called the Solo Consultants Network. He didn't even start it. He just contacted the owner. The owner was kind of tired of running the group, and they just said, hey, David, you can run the group for me. So he's one of the best people I know at running groups. Every time he posts, he gets lots of comments, lots of interaction. So if you want to look at a group that's really great as an example, just write down Solo Consultants Network. And it's run by David Fields, and you can see how he runs it. But what he did is he launched this product that he sold a course, and about 20 of the people that registered from his course all came from his LinkedIn group. And at charging like $1,000 to $2,000 a course, that really adds up to a nice chunk of change. So you can see, although it's a lot of work to maintain a group and keep it running and develop content on it, if you have a goal, a strategy, an approach, and something that you're going to do related to your business, it doesn't have to be a product or education. It could just be a promotion. Like, let's just say you're launching a new service line, or you're running an event, or you're promoting a special aspect of your business that is seasonal. You can promote that aspect of the business and leverage your group on LinkedIn that you've been building relationship and interacting with that, because it's kind of like they're your newsletter, or they're your focus group, and you can release that product to them. Another person is someone that works at a big IT company I used to work with, and Joe, he was very concerned about how do I get big customers, because he has a software product that he sells that helps big customers to manage all of their projects and make sure that they're very likely to succeed. Because as a lot of big companies work, like they spend all this money on software projects, and most of them don't amount to anything or go anywhere. So this software that he sells helps them to be effective and go somewhere. So it's very difficult to sell big companies software because they already have tons of software, and you're just like another piece of software. So what he did is he used LinkedIn in a different way. He combined LinkedIn posts, so he posts regularly, he writes articles, with emails. So what he would do is he would send out email to an email list. He would get people that he knows on LinkedIn, or he would buy lists of people. And then he would post about it on LinkedIn. He would send an email. So the people in the email would get access to the post. And then when they comment on the post, he would know that they're interested in that subject or topic. And then he could follow up with them and message them directly. So it's almost like, if you think about it, a more advanced version of telemarketing. Like, you might send something in the mail to someone's house. You might wait a couple days and call them. And then if they respond well on the telemarketing, you might have like some level of a follow-up interaction or a second call. And the same thing with LinkedIn. He sent out an email to a group. He saw who responded and interacted with his post, and then he followed up with them. So LinkedIn can be integrated into other techniques or approaches that are more of like a multi-channel, more advanced marketing approach. And that's what Joe did, because it's very difficult for a software company to sell to a big company, so you have to use creative approaches. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have existing marketing approaches that can be integrated into what you do on LinkedIn. And that's one example of it. And the last is my business partner, Steve. So Steve and I run a business incubator in Bethlehem called Hatch House. And the idea is that if entrepreneurs live together, they're more likely to be successful. So we allow them to live together, have office space, and we give them access to a network of mentors. And we've recently gone into the idea of connecting with community colleges and allowing them to license our content or take advantage of our space. And one thing was, well, how do we find community colleges that are interested in entrepreneurship? So one thing we didn't really talk about, but it's really cool, is LinkedIn is like the most powerful people search engine in the world. So even if you don't take anything out of this, you don't like this comment, like, and share, you don't even like using LinkedIn, it's better search engine than Google. Because if you're looking for a person, you're looking for someone that's going to be able to help you accomplish your goal, you can just go on LinkedIn. You could search for the name of the person. You could search for a keyword related to what that person does. Or you can just search for a company and then find any role in that company. You could find the CEO. You could find the marketing director. You could find whoever is your buyer. So what Steve did is he said, I want to find who's the most important person in community college entrepreneurship. So he found on LinkedIn there's this organization called NACE, which is the National Association of Community Colleges in Entrepreneurship. And essentially, he was like, well, what do I do now? Like, I found the organization. So on LinkedIn, he searched for the people that were running the organization, and he found the president of the organization. He reached out to her on LinkedIn and said, hey, I run this business incubator. We're looking to get involved in this association. And he was able to leverage that not just to a call, but also to an invite to a conference they're running in Houston. So now he's going to go out there and be able to meet with hundreds of community colleges interested in entrepreneurship just because he decided that LinkedIn is a great way to search for the people that I want to meet. So even if you don't take anything else from this, like LinkedIn is the most powerful search engine, and you can find anyone that you want to know, and it gives you a good chance to be able to connect with them. So I'm going to leave some time for questions, but before I close, I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of like take your LinkedIn to the next level. So what I did is Steve and I created a course. And this course goes through everything I covered today, plus a whole another level of details. We talk about some of the things that I talked about, like advanced techniques to reach out to people that are beyond your third connections, how to really understand the details of using groups so you don't have to spend that $5 on everyone that you want to connect with, and how do you get people to find you like Michael. So all these things can be extremely beneficial to your business. Like, I'm sure that for most of you, the average customer, when you get them, is more of a lifetime value than $100. So what we did is we created the course. It's 2 hours of content. It's 29 pieces of content. So some of it's videos, some of it's checklists, action guides, how to do it. And essentially, it's available on this platform called Udemy. For those of you who are not familiar, Udemy is like university and academy mixed together. There's all kinds of great courses on there. And we just use that as the platform. It stores all of our content. So if you're serious about taking your business to the next level with LinkedIn, this is how you can really take it to the next level. So you can find it on Udemy or just come to me afterwards. But because Michael brought you here to Lehigh Valley Elite, we're doing a special offer just for the people in Lehigh Valley Elite, $27. So anyone in Lehigh Valley Elite that's watching this or here today, you can have access to it. The promo code is LV Elite. So you just go to udemy.com and you search for how to become a power user, or search for my name or Steve Berner's name. You'll find it, type in the code, and you'll get access to it. If you need help, I can show you afterwards.